Hey guys, it's Aman here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome back to one of my videos. I just want to make a few small announcements before we get into today's video. I got a new box slash sound box, and I mean turn that on, and the quality of my videos may sound a lot more different. This box is very loud, so I try to control the volume as best as I can and hope I'm not lagging the mic or this is lagging at all, because the last one, there's a problem, but this one is brand new. Got it as a gift, Christmas, happy Christmas, in general, holidays and all that. And yeah, I just want to make that announcement, say that to y'all. If you're going to get into today's video, as you see by the title, this is the top 10 weapons ever, in my opinion. This is weapons that I like, but these weapons also have their own contradicting factors as technology, actual bladed weapons, or weapons crafted in their own way. They all go hand in hand. This is just my personal favorite. This is not just all about power necessarily. This is just the weapons that I like in general that go hand in hand with everything. You feel me? So I just want to make that clear. At number 10, we have Mjolnir. Mjolnir is the weapon of Thor and a few others in Asgard, and even people outside from Asgard. As a weapon that has been a holding point for Thor's character and others. It is a weapon forged by a dying star, and in some other iterations, and realistically, it was crafted in the mindset by Odin, and actually crafted by two dwarves, namely Brock and Sindri. And this entire hammer is basically an ancestral type of tool able to craft and manipulate the weather and electricity and other biblical type of connections in between them, because it's not actually a tool or used for that can be used for many things, and it's not just a weapon. It can be used to help people craft things. It allows them to resurrect, not necessarily people, but two go to mind. I'm talking about Marvel. Thor has actually been said to do this. Looked it up, and it did happen in the comics. A lot of the feats for Norse mythology have been kind of certificated on to Marvel, but changed their own way. And in general, Mjolnir is a dope ass weapon, and with Thor's abilities, he's able to clash with electricity and send off a bolting pounding of death and destruction to enemies. And Thor uses it with a pretty heroic touch, and yeah, Mjolnir is just a beast, you feel me? Next, we have Cyborg's Blaster. I love Cyborgs. One of my favorite characters in DC. One of my favorite Titans. My favorite Teen Titan is Beast Boy, though. It's kind of tied between Superboy and Beast Boy, but Beast Boy takes count. Beast Boy is just a fucking beast, bro. No cap. Literally, like, pun intended, bro. But his entire kind of gauntlet-sized gun is able to do a lot of things. Basically, eviscerate people in a way, make boom tubes, connect portals, shoot very far isolated tools into kind of like grenade, like the plasma energy that connects into his arm can stabilize anything and be able to cause a lot of damage, not just in fighting abilities, but in other ways that is a big counting for the character, you feel me? So pretty much gist of that. Next, at number 8, we have Doomfist's Gauntlet. This gauntlet has been shown to have many abilities and basically, I guess you could say crafted, but basically it's in another interior example. And I know what I'm saying here, right? But it's just hard for me to explain it. There can be advancements to the gauntlet, right? And the terms that could be used to make this a little bit more out is they're able to stabilize its power, connect a whole different drive of power, mobility, all in one minute, and is able to be used in many different ways, and mainly has been a weapon designed to help Nubani, but a lot of certain causes has went through it. Because if we go by the people who use it and its showings, it has a lot more unexaggerable, hesitating examples of power that is more on destructive cause, but is also a way to fill out the area, is a way to destroy crowd manipulation when it comes to the rightful slash, I guess you could say, wielder of the gauntlet, because it's weird to explain it, and I know what I'm talking about here, but I'm trying to explain it the best way. Like I said before, the wielder of the gauntlet is obviously Khanda Ukundimu, aka Doomfist, but in general, the whole wielding thing is not a possessive type of thing. He's a successor, but technically the two others didn't hold any right to the rest of them, and the successor is an objective term for his character, because technically he didn't success it. And it still doesn't make him as a bad character or anything, but mainly this weapon doesn't have a pass down from generation like touch. It's more adaptive to a cause and the wielder's own fury. Because on the other hand, you have characters that would use it for defense and other exceptional uses, like the Savior Nubani / the first Doomfist, and then you have the Kit using self-defense. When it comes to Doomfist in general, he had been using it for his own cause that are destructive and being a whole ass war criminal. So the weapon is very fierce, but in the wrong hands it causes destruction. In general, the fucking weapon is very plateau of death walking on a person's body pretty much. Like how that made sense. But it can literally be exaggerated to literally death incarnate. Did I say literally twice? Yeah, I'm saying it twice but in a different way. I feel like I just messed up, but you guys get what I mean. The weapon is unpossibly exaggerated in its power in a way, but there's no proof to say that's not the case. So you can't actually just say, oh, well, because it's not proven, it's just not the case, because that argument doesn't work. Because we can make the assumption that Goku could take a nuke in the mouth, but obviously he's never done that. But realistically, he should, and I don't see how he would die from that. You see what I mean? I mean, that argument's a little bit different, but it still goes hand in hand if you go into the abilities. But it's not fully exaggerated if you basically put in the plateau of unrelenting destructive cause and unpractical type of death, the incarnate type of situations that basically is a petrifying, solidified type of death and destruction. Like, I'm trying to explain it the best way, but I'm saying that the gauntlet, its power is an implementive type of range of different things that could be asserted in multiple different ways, but isn't the baddest thing in the world. Like, it isn't a weapon that cannot be harnessed for good. But in the hands of Doomfist, he's able to do a lot of things. Cause earthquakes, hypothetically. Is it to jump super high in the fucking air? Cause an entire fucking Instone type of seaboard shockwave. He can destroy a small continent, arguably. And he does not play around. Doomfist is with the shits. You don't play around with that. You feel me? And if we go by the game mechanics, it's a little bit debatable of how you could certain that, but in general, the weapon is very powerful, and Doomfist's hands is able to basically, I guess you could say, provide and kind of like accelerate this central type of kinetic energy of electricity that they cause a pounding shockwave and does a lot of deadly shit, and does not have the same type of probabilities with some other weapons. It needs to be charged, it needs to have some stability, but in Doomfist's hands, he seems like a master with it. And if you're as skilled of a fighter like Doomfist and the tactician have the mind of a full-on warlord, it's in good hands, you feel me? That's it for number 8. Number 7, Blades of Chaos. The Blades of Chaos are very powerful weapons. They're very interesting in their own way, and they do their things to a pretty special and cool height, you know. And when it comes to Kratos using them, they've always been a part of God of War. They've always been a part of everything that makes them who they are. And how Kratos got them, and kind of to explain a little bit how Doomfist got his gauntlet, and just kind of go back on that. And if we want to explain where his weapons come from, well, Mjolnir, obviously, I explained. When it comes to Cyborg, turn into a robotic type of cyborg, obviously, but more kind of in place with a new body entirely. So yeah, he's a cyborg, right? But it's more like his body was imposed with robotic parts and he's still actually human. You can debate on that if you want, but I would say he's a cyborg, and he called himself Cyborg, and everybody knows he's a cyborg, so there's no difference. Doomfist took the Doomfist gauntlet, well, because I mean, Doomfist is a name given to all the people that wielded the gauntlet, but his name wasn't Doomfist, but he took the gauntlet from the second Doomfist the Scourge, and killed him in this. And he mainly did it because of Talon's questioning and how they felt about it. But he did give him a great battle, took the gauntlet in a great honorable show. And even though he's not the most honorable person, he does have some respectful, I guess, questioning aspects. I guess I'm not trying to condone what Conde does because he's a psychopath at the end of the day, but I'm just saying in general, what Doomfist does is something that is very pioneering, and how he got it and what he uses it for in his cause, you feel me? But that's kind of just the reaching point of his abilities and all that. Now when it comes to the Blades of Chaos, again, Blades of Chaos were given to Kratos when he pretty much preached out his life for Ares and became his little soldier and gave his soul pretty much to him. And the Blades of Chaos were forged in the fire and burnings of the underworld. They were forged by Hephaestus, even all of the Kratos, and Kratos used them to help out Ares, serve him and serve the gods. And then these weapons would be one of the main causes for the death of most of the characters. And these blades would compose in different things like the Blades of Exile, Blades of Athena, and used in multiple different ways. And it shows off the, I guess you could say, heinous amount of skill took into place with these abilities. But it isn't the thing that kind of, I guess you could say, draws them back. It just shows that they can be advanced and used in multiple different ways at the highest amount of potential for Kratos and possibly others that would use them. You know, they could be comboed in a bunch of different ways, and we go by the game mechanics, be comboed into different weapons. And we're going to God of War 4, combo very well with ice. And ice and fire combo of elements works very good with them. Now next we have number 6, the Rings of the Mandarin. Really interesting weapons, are very cool indeed to me. The Rings of the Mandarin have multiple different abilities that are very contrasting amounts of elements, and there's 7 of them. And correct me if I'm wrong on what these elements can do and all that. These elements have the ability to control fire, light, time, teleportation, the mind, control of multiple different other things, are able to do things beyond the normal essential comprehension of things, like they're out of the ordinary. And the most powerful thing they're able to do is combine together and create an essential type of bomb in a way that is a more introduction of a more uncensorable type of laser and stuff. So they do their own thing in that way, but they're not the most terrible combo. But as a force of destruction, they're pretty versatile, and how these rings were pretty much created. Correct me if I'm wrong, or basically Dynasty holding weapon that, like, I'm trying to explain this in the best way. Like, this is very hard for me. I've never had to go into this much information in a long time. So pretty much these were holding weapons for an unancestral type of unancestral. Did I say ancestral? Because that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know exactly what I just said. Okay, I feel like I'm about to mess up, but I know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is an unresistible type of power and a gauntlet of unradiated, unnecessary, essential type of causes. Because these rings were all the main essential connections to life and a balance of the dynasty that holded them back in China, of their unessential type of order, because they had order in their lives and their religion, and this was a passing unprecedented type of way of doing it. But these rings had too much power because they're able to control earth, light, water, cold, temperatures, oxygen, time, all this shit. And with this, the rings are exposed to one person. This is the Mandarin, a man who's corrupted with lust for power and domination of his entire empire, pretty much. He was not a king, but was somebody, okay, I guess you could say, love and mentive type of power. And with this, he took these rings, but these rings were too much for a mortal and corrupted him, making him become a demon-like man that was obsessed with more power, the more things that he dealt with, and basically was an unreal type of harvesting point of mass destruction. So that's the best way I could explain it, like, in general. But the opposing factor for them is that they're supernatural weapons created by Smith goddess or god, correct me if I'm wrong, and are also established to be from another world, and mainly the heavens. This is composing Chinese mythology mixes of pantheistic type of Buddhism. What I mean, like more of the mythological type of things, it would become a lot more different its aspects, but it doesn't really stray away from that. So if we go by that, they're from the heavens, and they have their own differentiation and how you could say they were created, but mainly they're weapons from the gods. They're destined out from the world, or possibly even given, or maybe were an enhancing type of, how could I say this, like Halsting, an over-halting type of status of things. Like, I don't think halting. I didn't mess up. Okay, sorry guys. But that's pretty much the way I would put them, you know. Now we're gonna go to number 5. The Power Pole, weapon of Goku from Grandpa Gohan. Goku uses it in great skill and showing, and is like the extended staff of Sun Wukong. Since Goku holds bases from Sun Wukong, uses it just like that, and it can technically shapeshift and bend and widen itself in different areas. He's able to use it at multiple different heights. It can grow out into space, and most importantly, Goku is able to do a bunch of crazy things that are more intensive from different verses and continuity, because the entire power pole can be distinct into multiple different things, but is used in very great heights of power. That's it for power pole. Or explain where it came from. It's from Grandpa Gohan, and he most likely possibly created it, or it kind of holds similar origins to some Wukong stuff, but most likely not. But if that's the case, then Grandpa Gohan is the reason for tsunamis. Damn. You know, number 4, we have the rings from DC Comics / the Lanterns rings, going all the way from will all the way to light / life. It still goes hand in hand, but you get what I mean. These rings are very powerful. They're embodiment of emotions, so it's this kind of like established powers that are holding connections to people, which still go hand in hand, but technically the two main lantern cores are one of the most powerful lantern cores are not emotions. They're more connections that establish emotions. That was the best way I could explain it. I'm proud of myself. But in general, as the weapons are being put in the wrong hands, they're used very badly. The willpower lantern core or space cops, they do their own thing and are more exceptional, you feel me? And overall, the rings are powerful and very cool, and if you had one, they're able to basically do anything to your mind, but you need to focus very hard. You need to be able to see, and too much of radiant things would cause great harm and unbalance. And number 3, we have the stones from King Kong. These stones allow any person to become... Actually, let me talk about the origins of these rings. Well, the main rings were created by the Guardians and basically correlated to be devices of justice and to help out people in different sectors of the entire universe. And that's mainly what the Green Lanterns do. But every... Like, hold up. Let me drink some water. My work. Okay. And that's what the main Green Lantern Corps does, but every Lantern and Corps has their own needs and desires, do them all out, but they do follow instructions of them, because in general, all the Lantern Corps, their emotions are correlating to their objective, but it's the main thing that drives them to do everything, you feel me? It's just kind of like, it's there, you know? Alright, hold up. Someone's texting me. Okay, my bad. That's for the rings. Now back to the stones. These stones, crafted by multiple shamans back on Skull Island over 1,000 years ago, says here. And with the stones, they allow a person to have godly powers and view them powers of beings beyond reality. And the main villain of King Kong's anime series, pretty much, and King Kong's most powerful and, in my opinion, greatest villain, Kairos was trying to use them to become ridiculously powerful and become a god among men. Now, in him being cursed, he was already God in general in his corrupted form, but he wanted to have these abilities so he become God of the universe. And eventually, when Kong defeats him, he actually gains all the power of the stones, and he becomes God of Skull Island, making the whole Kong's God on the island more realistic. Now, I know that the live-action movie is not canon to this version of Kong, but I'm just saying, if you would establish Kong truly being God on his island, you're not wrong. You're not. Just trying to make that as true as possible. So I just want to get that out the way. Sorry, someone's texting me. Okay. Number 2, Infinity Stones / Gauntlet. Infinity Stones can do a bunch of cool things. They're very oriented. They're dope. And they're very useful. And the stones all have their own keeping stones with everything that they do. And pun intended. And what I mean by keeping stones is like basically they keep their own versatility and aspects in their own type of section of things, and they can be correlated in different sections. So their own keeping stones stands for like a term of keeping like a more viral situation into one type of situation. Like you take one situation, you flip it upside, and then you correlate it to a standing platform. That's what they do. But it can be all over the place and still be a standing platform, meaning an advantage for the wielder. So I'm trying to get at. And Infinity Stones are the Mind Stone, Time Stone, Soul Stone, Death Stone now, Reality Stone, Space Stone, Power Stone, and that is all it. And they most famously wielded by Thanos himself, the Mad Titan, and it can all be used in their own way. And they were created by the Celestials and Marvel, correct me if I'm wrong, and all passed down to different people in their own way and used to be the order of things. And with all these stones coming together, it can be the ultimate power source of destruction for all. And with Thanos, he could end pretty much half of the universe in a snap, called by the movies, and in general, he is literally a Goliath with this power. I mean, in general, Thanos is already Goliath, but the nigga is a whole ass practical demigod with this. Like, he's God among men. And the dude sold the entire Avengers with this entire gauntlet. And at number 1 is one of my favorite weapons, technically, in a way. It's the Doom card from Bakugan. The Doom card is able to send any Bakugan to a different dimension, or any person to this dimension. They can never escape unless they beat the Celestials, and Bakugan pretty much are able to bend pretty much reality. And this card can always be inserted into any type of environment, and is literally death for all. And it's very famous in this factor of animes that create the entire tournament aspect, and it's very cool to me. The Doom cards are my favorite, and especially since Masquerade is arguably my favorite character in Bakugan next to Dan. I really like this, and even though Masquerade technically is an anti-hero, if you think about it generally, it can always be said and valued that Doom card can be used in a good way and a bad way, but no matter which way it's being used, it is always death walking to you. That sounded savage as fuck, but it is the truth. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, Army.